Hold on. Live from the Uncanny Valley, we have Barbie dolls fighting monsters. Like,
speaking of things that have not aged very well,
all right,
I present Beowulf.
Now,
I don't know, you guys. I kind of liked it.
I like it. All right,
Of course you did, John.
The thing is,
I actually did. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was
not like this movie.
This movie gets way better if you don't watch it.
I like this movie despite all of that.
Yeah. Me too. Like I remember,
way better if you don't
I saw this movie when it came out. I saw this movie when it came out, and I was like, against my better judgment, because I was like, I don't like the CG thing, and he's doing the whole thing again. I don't want to do this. And then I feel the same way about it when I first saw it. I was like, fuck, that wasn't bad. Like, I kind of enjoyed that.
It kind of rocks, man.
And I fucking watched it again. I was like, this is kind of fucking cool. I like it.
Trying to do something. He's trying to do something.
What the fuck is wrong with you people?
I know it's listen. I know it's dumb. It's like a guilty pleasure or something.
No,
what, Jim?
Here's the thing.
Roles have been reversed.
Yeah, I know.
I understand. Like this was done at a time when, like, I'm thinking about like
we didn't know that CGI was a problem.
There was it kind of started with the green screen thing, right? Like the Sky Captain the World Tomorrow. Yeah. You got George Lucas, original Star Wars. The first three movies were like nothing.
But at least Sky Captain.
Didn't he do the Polar Express before this?
Yes, he did. Which is the most Uncanny Valley movie.
And that was.
You think he would have learned not to do this, right?
You know why? Do you know why that Polar Express didn't work and this kind of works?
No, but Polar
because the characters have more than one.
Are you telling me the eyes are better in this?
No,
they are better in this.
They are.
I never saw Polar Express. The trailer made me run out of the room.
Go watch Polar Express because it literally is the most dead-eyed shit you've ever seen in your life.
Now, Polar Express,
this movie it's weird, but
off-putting. This is kind
everyone in Polar Express looks like Marjorie Taylor.
They do.
Dead-eyed.
Okay, who here saw The Christmas Carol? The one after this?
No,
fuck that.
No, dude, is my.
think so.
With a close second being the Muppets one, that's my favorite Christmas movie.
Oh dear God!
No, it's good. It's really it's visually imaginative. They had years to work on the CG, and it actually works better than.
Okay.
I kind of like this one, but I'm saying I liked it, Scott, despite the way it looked. I like.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the thing about this movie that we're not.
This movie is so good.
We haven't. I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you, because all we're talking about right now is the technical aspects of this movie.
True, that's all.
The reason this movie is good is because all it is balls to the wall, sex and action. Like that's
blood
it.
And sex and tearing people in half.
And it's fucking rad.
Story.
This dude,
good. This didn't have enough cigarettes.
Every time these guys see a maid, they're making comments about trying to bone him. Obviously, Angelina Jolie is butt ass naked throughout this whole thing.
Oh, very.
He fights the Grendel butt ass naked. I mean, that's fucking awesome,
naked.
Dude. It's
awesome.
Like
Jim, I can say I'm dying to talk, you guys.
Later, he shows up in shorts. What was that about?
I know they couldn't find enough candles and things to put in front of Dom.
That made me so.
There's a weird perverseness to this picture that I really like.
Just show the dick.
There you go.
There's a couple of things I didn't like about this movie,
Jim.
And I'd seen it before.
For the audience, Jim knows about Old English. He's a linguist.
Oh yeah, well,
I figured he'd weigh in on that.
Amongst the many things I disliked about this movie,
no one expressed
the verb swiven in Middle English did not have the connotation of fucking in Old English, but I like the fact
that's really subtle, Jim. But keep going.
Yeah.
What else didn't you like about it?
You know what I really didn't like about it was I thought that they really should have gone, and Gilliam would have done this. They should have gone for a more medieval look instead of this photorealist bullshit, which fails.
Oh, yes. Jim.
What do you? Do you not think this looks medieval? I think it looks pretty medieval.
No, he means it. He wants it to look like it's
like a Ridley
Scott movie
or something.
No, yes, like a Hieronymus Bosch painting. He wants it to look like an illuminated text.
More
which they could have done later.
Might have made it better.
That would have been cool too.
Yeah, later on they could.
No, I don't think this is like believable CG. Yeah,
Jim,
all the eyes
we
are
have to talk
dead.
About Pentiment at some point.
Also, or Jim, the Book of Kells, that movie. You ever see it?
No, I haven't.
It's in style of the Book of Kells. It's actually the CG, but it just looks like that thing. But this is like I think this is kind of the worst of both worlds. He was trying for a CG version of like Beowulf, so he wanted to like open it up and do kind of a story about, as honestly as he could, about the Grendel and the monster.
Also, honestly, all these voice performances are very good.
That's why I said the voice acting in this is incredible.
Good voice acting. The third thing
the mocap
I really
wasn't
didn't
bad
like
either. I thought the mocap was excellent.
Wait, the third thing is.
You guys go ahead.
No, I forgot.
We'll come back to you. Raise your hand when you get your third thing.
When you get your second wind.
I really like Crispin Glover doing Old English in his scenes when he's back in the cave.
In the cave.
So I was going to say that.
Who put the subtitles on to figure out that he wasn't speaking?
You know what? I can understand him pretty well.
You can make out the gist of some of them.
And I like when they're doing, when it flashes forward in time and it's the anniversary. They're doing the whole thing where they have the little person fighting the kid.
That was reenacted.
The guy who's telling the story is using the poem. Like he's actually.
It's weird. You see the origin of Beowulf right there.
Well, speaking of,
Jim's got it.
Jim's got it.
Take it, Jim.
I got it. I don't know how long it'll last.
Wait.
I really didn't like the. I didn't like the sort of Freudian interpretation of Beowulf. You know, it's like his son, his daughter is.
Well, let me ask you about that.
How much of that is from the source? Then
you read the text. You tell me about.
It's not. The source is totally ambiguous.
No, the source has basically nothing outside of here's a bunch of monsters Beowulf fought.
Right,
like
Beowulf.
But I remember that swimming competition in the text, and that was awesome.
Yes,
he comes to the meat hall. Grendel attacks. He rips his arm off, and he's dead. Then the second thing is Grendel's mom gets pissed off, and so she comes looking for him, and he fights her. And then the dragon is the third thing later on.
Right. There's none of this. There's none of this.
Beowulf didn't screw.
There's no like psychological explanation.
Oh, interesting.
Well, then they really concocted quite a bit.
Well, because it's one of the first. It's just adventure.
Grendel is the first king's son, and the dragon is the second king's son. All that
actually kind of brings it into Arthurian.
It's not Milius. I mean Avery, Roger Avery, who I usually like.
Yeah, this is weird. Roger Avery, and who wrote him and who?
It's
Neil Gaiman.
Zemekis.
Neil Gaiman.
Gaiman.
Gaiman and Roger Avery co-wrote it. That's interesting.
I liked the. Now that I know
they had worked on a script together for the Sandman.
But also, he's trying to bring an Arthurian feel to it, like the whole like.
I wanted
King Arthur is like the Mordred and Morgana thing.
Also, I love the blackout ending of what's he gonna do. He's got the horn, and there's friggin' Angelina Jolie popping out of the waves, looking more plastic than she ever has in any of the previous shots. That is so terrible. She looks like a sex doll.
One of the best.
I thought that was pretty well modeled.
Like a real
pretty well modeled after her at the time.
It looks like her, but I'm just saying.
She really. They don't look like they're from far, far away because it is a DreamWorks film.
I don't know, man. She was pretty hot, but they made this film, so it's like it worked out.
So one of the things though that I think works. One of the things that I think works.
He looks like a real doll. John's right.
Something that works so well in this movie, though, for me, because no one's
no, they're not
commented on this yet.
We're getting into a weird area here.
No, we're not. Fuck you.
All right, I'm gonna tell you one of the best things about this movie.
This down. Hold on.
One of the best things about this movie is the Grendel attacks, and I don't know if it was Crispin Glover's choice or if it was Robert Zemeckis' choice, but the way that he screams while he's attacking, and the musical score, like the tone of his attacks, is something so unique and special that I've never felt or seen in another picture.
And then he's gone.
It's really disturbing. It's very fucking disturbing and gross.
It doesn't help how awful he looks.
No, I read about this. They said they wanted to have Grendel be this character who's in pain all the time.
He's absolutely in pain. He's trying to make it stop.
I know. What's the first thing that Beowulf does is punch.
Like the way he's like screaming the whole time.
I know, it's fucked up.
So I love the Grendel attacks because of how, I got this.
The flame goes blue, and
the flame goes blue.
Yeah.
But the screaming, the tone of those attacks were so much darker than most movies, and definitely the darkest parts of this movie. And that, again, going back to what I like, this definitely should be rated R, by the way. But
dude,
But the Grendel attacks were amazing.
Beowulf cuts off his own arm so that he can reach inside a dragon's chest and rip out its heart. This movie fucking is cool, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. This movie is like did anyone like The Northman from last year? This
is like, seen it, but it makes me want to watch it.
The Northman, man, it was great.
This is very Northman.
Yeah, I want more of that.
Because the Northman is cool.
No, it is
this
not.
movie is not.
The Northman is very cool.
I think this movie is cool.
I think this movie is very cool too. I like this movie.
I was.
This movie is cool.
Chris, I was you, and then at some point I just got into the story, and I was like, "Yeah,
live action versus CG. This is apples and oranges." And
that's true.
That's my fundamental problem with this fucking movie.
What?
My fundamental problem with this movie is I don't know why it exists.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I get it. Like this,
I kept saying, "Who is this for?"
I keep coming. What was it? The year before was Final Fantasy, right? That was the first all CG. Uncanny.
No, it was the other one.
Spirits Within is from like 2002. Like
I
watched that.
No, look.
Film Fantasy was the first full CG film.
I'm just saying.
And that's a video game, is that right?
It's a movie based on a video game.
So Zemekis gets on the bandwagon. I'm going to make it all CG.
No, Zemekis is trying to start a CG studio.
He was. I heard a rumor, or I read something that after this, he didn't want to work with actors anymore. He wanted to only work with
Within
voice actors.
2001.
Yeah, so before
2001. This is 6 fucking years.
This movie look at least as bad as that movie does?
It looks worse.
It looks worse than Final Fantasy.
So the thing
Final Fantasy had that bad eye thing.
If you turn the fucking visuals off, it's an interesting story.
It's an amazing audio drama.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to do an all CG movie with mocap actors, and you're going to re-render them so they look like. I mean, again, for 2009,
but if we're
state of the art, but the problem is, okay, then what are you getting for that? Because you could have just gone and spent more money and like.
That's why.
Well, before you get off. So yes, the CG is
like you make Anthony Hopkins look just like Anthony Hopkins. What's the fucking point?
Just shoot Anthony Hopkins.
Just shoot Anthony. And they did have that.
And Anthony Hopkins would absolutely wear all of those.
But Zemekis was trying to do something here. That's the thing.
Yeah, the only guy that didn't look like himself was Ray Winston.
Actually,
totally.
He's a little old.
Actually, question. When did 300 come out?
2006.
So this was the year before this.
Okay.
So two different approaches to the same idea, both mythical, both ancient.
I would watch
using live action
1,000 times before I watch
blue screen and effects. This one's full CG. They're two different ideas.
There's a joke that says like, how many?
You're reminding me that there's a Gerard Butler version of this movie that Grendel, my Sandy loves this. But my point is
the 99.
What did Zemekis get for? Okay, I'm going to
300
CG telling of this story. The camera work, it's not that interesting.
There's points
I
in this
beg
movie
to
where
fucking
shit
differ,
is-
sir. I
there's-
beg to fucking differ, sir. I was just gonna say this is one thing that he did do. We were talking about how good of a technical filmmaker he was in the last review.
Yes.
Dude, the shit he does in this, going through that the little tuba thing, he goes through that. Like there's some awesome shit here.
There's really good shots.
The big pullback scene at the beginning of the film where they're partying in the hall.
Yes.
Goes back and back and back.
I loved that.
Back until you get to Grendel's cave.
And that was Zemekis like flexing, like I can do this.
Yeah.
Why did he do it for
I
the
can
rest
do
of the
fucking
movie,
anything.
then?
Following the rat on those beams in the roof of the
Why are there
mead hall.
movies that are out of focus?
He would do things that a normal camera couldn't do. He would come through someone's arm and then to another character's face, like that you couldn't. It was cool.
No, I'll literally out of focus.
Yeah, I'll go back to tell you
that hard to see most of the time.
That because it's a 3D movie and the 3D is so fucking terrible because you just constantly see the oh, I'm gonna have the lance right here at your face.
See, that's the thing.
Stop doing that.
That was very obviously 3D.
All the shit where they throw people.
And this is 2 years before Avatar. Yeah.
But that shit was brutal, dude. Again, the Grendel attacks. He rips that dude in half. He eats that dude's head.
He bites the guy's head off.
There are good points in it, but so much of it is.
But there's a shot. Like the
You
thing
know what
behind.
would be interesting though is if all these assets still remain, including the way Zemekis set up the shots, the motion of the cameras and stuff.
They're in a
re-render it.
Yeah, why not, right?
But here's the
Also,
thing.
big
We've gotten
props
so
to
spoiled
big props
because
to
basically everything's
Malkovich. I think
real now.
Malkovich did a great job in this film.
Oh, Malkovich is always great.
Everyone did a great job.
Everyone did a great job.
Everyone's performance is really good in this.
Yeah.
It would be so much better if they were being filmed
fucking
instead of being
re-render it.
mocap.
Yes.
Do the Avatar.
But I think that honestly,
Right.
honestly, I think that I think I would feel like it was way fucking dumber than I do think, and I know it is already dumb. If it was real people, I would be like, now I don't like it anymore. And there's something about this.
I mean, to be devil's advocate or whatever, it's kind of like reading like Classics Illustrated comic books. It's like there is this layer of fakeness,
abstraction
between abstraction, and that maybe isn't a bad thing. Whereas,
I think it works here.
I think it.
If this was shot real, I'd be like, I don't know.
Well,
if anybody's
I wish this was good.
What if
this is one of my favorite? This is one of my favorite stories. Like I love the story of Beowulf.
It's the story.
The 13th Warrior is one of my favorite movies, and I went and watched it after this, which is like it's so. Like this story can be told so well and be so interesting and brutal and violent in a way. Like,
go back up a little bit. You're talking about the way the story is presented on screen. What's the problem with it?
It looks like shit.
It's like dog shit.
No, Tad, that's a different argument.
This dead-eyed bullshit.
That is his problem with it, Scott. That's his problem.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how the story is told. Imagine watching this film with your eyes closed.
I did watch this film mostly with my eyes closed because I didn't want to watch it anymore.
Which is recommended.
With your eyes closed, what would you think? Because the visuals have problems. Wow, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a great audio drama. Unfortunately, this isn't yelling about audio dramas. It's yelling about movies. And the movie part of this is the worst part.
90% of this movie is people talking to each other.
Right.
Like most movies, Chris, are about
I understand that, but like unfortunately we've all seen.
And you know what's compelling about watching two people talking to each other is that they're people and they emote with their faces and they have eye movement and stuff like that. They don't just disappear into the background.
No, but the thing is you're avoiding the argument here. The argument is, was this story of version of Beowulf?
You're having the argument.
Is this story of Beowulf outside the visual limitations of CG, was it sufficient?
This is a movie. The visuals are important.
Yes, they are. But
let a no from Jim.
I said no.
All right.
You said no. Jim says no.
I realize that everybody has to reinterpret classic stories.
Take it, Jim.
In their own time.
People
do this. I just think he did a shitty job of it. And
so you don't object specifically to the CGI. You object.
Actually, I would like to hear.
You don't like the script.
I would like to hear.
I don't like the script.
No, I like Jim's take on.
I want Jim sitting across from Neil Gaiman being like, "You fucked it,
how the
dude."
story was told.
Hey, even the best writers fuck up sometimes.
Gaiman's not the best writer.
No, he's not. But he's a decent writer.
No, I'm just saying.
You can feel the limitations of the studio system around the edges of this film a lot. Like what would make the kids happy? Would they like to see kind of thing? Is this
again?
Which is why I keep asking, who is this for? Because children.
I think it's for Robert Zemeckis.
If this was Shark Boy and Lava Girl, if this was Shark Boy and Lava Girl, you could be like, all right, it's for kids, but it's absolutely not for kids. This movie is
not. And if it was,
I admire Zemeckis for actually making a film for nobody. He made it for himself.
And if it was heavy metal, it'd be for perverted nerds, and it's not that.
Oh wow!
It's more the heavy metal audience, I think. Actually, I think you kind of hit that.
The problem was it was all the people. I really liked the Dragon.
It's a little heavy metal, not quite as hardcore in the pornography, but
yes, Jim, carry on.
You like what?
Grendel was good, and the Dragon was good. I thought this is the first movie
of
what a dragon is.
This is the first movie that I can remember that actually deals with like the physicality of how a dragon works. Because when he punches the hole through his chest,
then the fire comes out
falls out through his chest, and it's like, oh. Okay, and he kind of like he gets some of it out of his mouth, but it's just kind of like. Bleh, bleh.
I thought that was a nice touch too.
Right, and then he bites the parapet, and then the rocks come down through his gullet and knock the sword out of
That was really close to the "oh my god, my balls" moment where he almost lands on the turret.
That was like overly thought out, almost.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no. Someone spent a lot of time thinking about how dragons work physically, and I do appreciate that. I will absolutely.
And this movie has more. This movie has more crotch covering than Austin Powers.
It should have. It
goes to great lengths
for the same reason.
Put tits and dick on the screen. Fuck you! Don't make this PG-13.
Seriously, he could have actually done whatever he wanted. He could have actually had blood and guts and full lighting.
He does have blood and guts, dude.
No, not. But he has always. It's always in silhouette. He could have actually thrown it all out there and actually.
This is pretty fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he rips that dude in half.
When he rips that dude in half, that's not silhouette. You can see it.
And then, and then he throws the body, and you get.
And then you see the top half.
When he rips the guy in half, it is literally silhouette because it's a shadow on the wall.
His body is like.
Oh, that's right. But he did. But Tad's right. The top half of the body is like slides by the woman, and it's like bleeding out.
And it's pinched. It's pinched like he drank it like a fucking Capri Sun. Like,
what a bunch of dorks.
I know. Well, I think we all got something out of it, whether we liked it or not. All right.
I think
we should probably go to the cards at this point.
Unfortunately, anybody that watches any CG heavy movie made before 2000 and I suppose 9, really. Like some of these things have just not aged very well. The first 3 Star Wars movies, it's very apparent. We're talking about like
3 Star Wars movies weren't good at the time.
Really early CG.
Yeah,
I know, sure, but with some I've seen too many episodes of Game of Thrones which look fucking awesome visually.
We're not going to talk about the last
costumes
season, right?
on real sets.
Oh God, no.
This just I would turn. Picture off. I'd like it a hell of a lot better.
Okay, if this was an audio drama, it would be so much better.
Closing thought. Beowulf walked so Avatar could run.
Sure.
All right, there it is.
But it's a different Avatar. I guess, yeah, it's motion capture for sure.
Avatar was actually
another closing thought. Another closing thought, though.
But they've in between though they've worked in. But in between they've worked in better motion capture with real people like Lord of the Rings and other things like this.
Yeah. And Lord of the Rings was 2001.
Right. Yes. There's so many things before this, like Troy.
Hold on.
Think about Troy.
No, we're lapping ourselves. We're talking about real people versus CG. This is like we covered.
But no, I mean these are like Lord of the Rings and Troy both use full CG crowds throughout all of them. And it's like it looks so much better.
Yeah, but a crowd is way different from what we're doing
here.
It's
easier to do than
these
are like
main characters talking to.
I mean, look at the
don't do that. Actually,
no, there's a fight with Grendel in the
Zemekis's Beowulf.
Like the second and third Matrix look as bad as this in terms of the CG.
He could have done Sky Captain and done real actors in front of virtual sets. I would have liked.
There was a fight with Grendel in the mead hall. What was it called? Herath? What's it called, Jim?
Herath.
Herath, yeah. There was a fight with Grendel and Herath versus the fight with the troll in the middle of the first Lord of the Rings movie. Remember that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Which one's better?
Anything in Lord of the Rings is
Lord of the Rings is superior in terms of
the little person fighting the kid with the fake arms is better than the actual fight that they have in the mead hall. There's better shit in this movie than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, what I was thinking is, I just saw the new Indiana Jones, and they've spent 20 minutes with a de-aged Harrison Ford. Like the whole first 20 minutes of that fucking movie,
the first 20 minutes
is a CGI Harrison Ford, basically motion capture. And I thought that is a breakthrough, but it's like they kind of did it with Ray Winstone here, didn't they? They just redesigned it. They fucking redesigned Ray
Winstone minus about 75 pounds.
Well, Ray Winstone in real life has never had a 6-pack, so he was probably pretty happy about this movie.
Excuse me. He has an 8-pack in this movie.
Yeah, we're definitely going to the cards now. Come on, this is it.
Fuck yeah!
I'm like this, dude.
All right. There we go.
I'm like, it would be like this, but I mean, it's admittedly, it's like what we said before. It's stupid, it's silly, but this movie rocks, dude.
It fucking worked for me. Sheila,
I can't think of
asleep, and she asked how it ended, and I started crying when I described him on the burning boat, and when Angelina Jolie is through the smoke.
It was a good Norse funeral.
How could you?
It was fucking cool.